I'm not going to be behaving pleasantly in this video. You've been warned. I'm going to try to not be super fucking toxic, I guess. Right. Oh, because I guess that's enough for a motive for a murderer now. It's being toxic. Oh my god. Oh my god. All right, this is gonna be hard. Scream 2022. Scream 5, as I will call it, because that's fucking bogus. Scream 5 is a gigantic fucking dumpster fire. It's awful. I hate it. I fucking hate it. Thanks. Thanks. I hate it. And remember, you asked for this. You asked for this video to be done. You asked for me to review, as you say, review Scream 2022. And here I am talking about Scream 5. You got what you wanted. Awesome. Cool. We're all having fun here. But it makes sense considering that um I I consider Scream, Scream 2, and Scream 4 to be cinematic masterpieces of the highest possible order. What do those three films have in common? What does Scream 3 and Scream 5, what separates them from Scream 1, 2, and 4? What the fuck is it? Oh, it's Big Daddy W. It's Kevin Williamson. All right, yeah, Kevin Williamson wrote 1, 2, and 4. Those are brilliant films. Scream 3, for the record, I would not say that I hate Scream 3. Um, I don't like it. I think it's dumb, but I think that Wes Craven like properly understands the dynamics and like the sophistications that Kevin Williamson's writing was all about. I think that Wes Craven perfectly understood postmodernism, and Scream 3 is just a really stupid um uh, oh my god, I'm losing my words. Scream 3 is just the dumbest fucking postmodern horror film I think I've ever seen. Uh, it's fucking dumb as shit, but I don't hate it. There is some good in it. I can see definitely where Wes is coming from, and Wes is trying to provide like additional complexities to Williamson's language by kind of making everything hyper literal, which is kind of fucking dumb. But, whatever. Scream 3 is. I was comfortable with Scream 3 being the bad Scream movie. I was not okay with there being an absolutely god awful fucking fuck ass fuck bitch movie like Scream 5. I was not cool with Scream 5. Now there's a movie that I will refuse to ever watch again in the Scream series. So now we're at Scream 5. Okay, so where do I begin? Because it's such a hard thing. I didn't originally want to make a video about it. I was content to hate it in peace. In fact, the first time I put on Scream 5, I rage quit the fucking thing. An hour into the movie, I fucking rage quit it. I went, this is the worst fucking movie I've ever seen, and I rage quit. But you guys kept persisting, and I was comfortable just quietly hating it. Okay? But you guys talked me into rewatching it and watching it completely and totally. Did I hate everything about it? Ultimately, yes. But there's one element here. There's one component of this film that I found valuable, and we'll get into it or her later. Let's begin in the most pretentious way possible. A lot of you don't understand what I mean, apparently, when I've been talking about postmodernism for the past, like 2 years. Like, you don't get it. I I think it's pretty clear what I'm talking about. Everyone has their own definition of postmodernism. It's uh it's a very postmodern situation, actually. No one quite knows how to define postmodernism without having to deconstruct the idea of definitions. But postmodernism, if you want to know what I'm talking about when it comes to postmodernism in cinema, like don't read Foucault, don't read Derrida. Deconstruction is a good thing to learn, but I feel like just living in the ultra modern world, we're all deconstructionists already. We don't really need to be shown a textbook on how to deconstruct narratives. We do that all of the time. I would recommend reading The Society of the Spectacle. It's obviously a very short book by Guy Debord, situationist, postmodernist, Marxist. I would read this if you really want to know what I mean when I keep comparing films like Scream, well, really the work of Kevin Williamson, where I keep saying that it's perfect postmodernism. This is what I'm talking about. The Society of the Spectacle is easily summed up, I think, by its like by its first piece of writing. In societies where modern conditions of production prevail, all of life presents itself as an immense accumulation of spectacles. Everything that was directly lived has moved away into a representation. So, authentic human life has been replaced by its representation, by its spectacle. And I feel like that, in a nutshell, is what made Scream, Scream 2, and Scream 4 so unbelievably good. And I do believe that Wes Craven was attempting to further that discussion, that philosophical discussion in Scream 3. I just feel like he fell flat a bunch of times and it was kind of embarrassing for him. Scream and Scream 2 identified extremely psychopathic behavior in a media obsessed culture of bored and misogynist white boys. We have to remember that Scream and Scream 2 were before Columbine, and yet these films feel like they're predictive cinema and the idea that it identified the spectacle. Scream, yeah, it's satirical. Satire is a part of postmodern art. It's deconstructionist. Deconstructionism is a part of postmodern art. It's subversive. Also, see the rest, part of postmodern art. But what I think is most impressively postmodern about Scream is its idea of identifying the spectacle itself. That even their most Scream at its most depraved, at its most cruel, the savagery that is displayed, the grotesquerie that is exhibited by the killers in Scream and Scream 2 are spectacles that are carried out in deliberately cinematic ways by the media-obsessed cinephile killers. Actual human life has been replaced by its representation. Same with death. That's what I think makes Scream so incredible. And yes, I think Scream is so complicated that I needed to bring in a dead French philosopher to make my point. Scream 5 has a fundamental misunderstanding of this concept, a complete misunderstanding of this concept. And before I go further, let me just shoot myself in the foot just to tell you that Kevin Williamson has, I can quote him as saying that he hates the word postmodern. He recognizes that a lot of people call him postmodern, but he's like, no one seems to know what it means, and neither do I. Such is the way that postmodern art is constantly being defined and redefined. But I think that Scream 1 and Scream 2 and Scream 4, that's the most clear and articulate and I feel deliberate postmodern blockbuster pop horror films that have ever been made. And I think it's really cool because they're normally around young people, teenagers, coming of age, because I think that coming of age, coming into maturity is simply a deconstruction of youth. That's how you reach maturity, by deconstructing your adolescence. So I think that postmodernism is best suited in coming of age stories, and Scream is probably the most perfect teen horror film ever, and Scream 2 and Scream 4 followed in that wake. I think that Scream 1 is the best Scream film, but Scream 2 means the most to me. It matters more, if that makes any sort of sense to you. But Scream 5 does not understand the Society of the Spectacle. Scream 5 doesn't actually know why Billy, Stu, Jill, and Mickey were killers. They were all killers for the same sorts of reasons. Billy's is a bit more blatantly and openly misogynistic and cruel and honestly sadistic, but they all were obsessed with media. They all were obsessed with film, and they all identified the spectacle, and they all tried to put on a great spectacle. So the writers of Scream 5, they kind of understood this to a certain point, but every time Kevin Williamson leaves something or is deliberately not asked to return, it loses the plot. Scream 5 completely loses the plot. Let me just go to God, there's no proper way to do this. There's no proper way to do this video, and I didn't want to do this video, remember. Our two killers, Amber and Richie. Richie is the most annoying fucking killer that's ever been in a fucking Scream movie. He makes Roman look like the coolest motherfucker alive. Fuck Richie. Fuck Jack Quaid. Fuck nepotism. Fuck that. That's so annoying. I wrote it down as a note because I didn't believe he actually said it. What's the motive, you ask? So we had so many good ones. Watch a few movies, take a few notes. It was fun. I'm gonna blame the movies. We had so many good ones. How can fandom be toxic? What the fuck? Richie was a killer because the Stab series that exists in the Scream universe that are based on the events that occur in the Scream films. He's a fan of the Stab series, and he said the Stab movies got bad and that fandoms deserve justice. Oh, oh my god, I'm furious. I'm furious. His motive for killing is because fandoms aren't toxic. It's for the fandom. I had a fucking killer in a Scream movie use the word fandom. This isn't real. This isn't happening. It's not real. That didn't happen. That didn't happen. Oh, but it fucking did. It really actually did. I can't believe that it actually happened. Scream 5 forgets that Scream 1, 2, 3, and 4 identified the spectacle and challenged the spectacle and honestly transcended the society of the spectacle to reach a new sincerity. Scream 5, once again, separates real life from the spectacle. They're trying to influence the fucking spectacle. When if Scream taught us anything, the difference between the spectacle and actual reality, these differences are fucking arbitrary, right? The postmodern condition is that our lives are fucking cartoons. Scream 5, two massive fans of the spectacle. I'm like shaking with rage. I am shaking with rage because you have to be able to read the film correctly, right? You might think that it's being meta for no philosophical reason, for no emotional point. There was no devotion in this film, no postmodern devotion at all. You have to remember that yes, I guess that there a fourth wall is being challenged in this film because since Scream 4 came out, and in the time that has passed since then, challenging the fourth wall has itself become a trope, right? I mean, you can argue this since the first Scream came out. The new trope is about self-reference. The new trope is about being self-aware. The new trope is subverting, inverting the Kevin Williamson trope and running back into the arms of the spectacle, which I think is the most dangerous and artistically inappropriate thing that horror films can do. Absolutely, I definitely feel that way. And Scream 5 is just swinging blind at shadows, running directly back to the arms of the spectacle that Scream 1 and 2 threw out its back, challenging and identifying, exposing to the public. Genuine human life has been replaced by its representation, and Scream 5's killers are killing in defense of the spectacle when every other killer understood that real life and the spectacle, there's no fucking difference anymore. None. Not a fucking difference. Real life and film, no fucking difference. It's so fucking dumb that I can't stomach it. I feel like I'm gonna fucking throw up, like almost for real. And before you say like you're a Kevin Williamson purist, you're some sort of fanboy. I mean, correct. I find so much value in his work, and I love his films and I love his TV shows to death. I think his art is massively important, but you're looking at a person who liked MTV Scream. All right, the first two seasons, I thought it was fine, not just because I have a massive crush on Carlson Young. Has nothing to do with it. Trust me. I thought that the first two seasons of MTV Scream understood this fundamental concept about the society of the spectacle. I they understood it, and they were using some of the tools in a superficial teen television series. And they were doing fine. Nothing profound, nothing too incredible, but there were moments of pure inspiration and a sort of postmodern innovation that went with the MTV Scream show. So I'm not like end all be all Kevin Williamson because I clearly like MTV Scream, which puts me in the vast minority of most Scream fans. I think MTV Scream is pretty good. I like MTV Scream more than I like Scream 3. Just if you wanted to have any other reasons to hate me. So this isn't just me bemoaning the absence of Kevin Williamson, who I'm sure was consulted on this film. I hope he wasn't just there for a photo op or to just be like free press for the movie. I'm sure he was consulted in some sort of way, but fuck this movie. It's terrible. It's fucking terrible. You know what they did? Do you know what these fuck bitches did to my boy? To Billy? Okay. Our main character, played by Melissa Barrera, has hallucinations, visions of her father, Billy Loomis. You heard me correctly. Yeah, you heard that correct. I want to punch a wall right now. I want to leave a hole in it. I want to throw something. And this hallucination of Billy Loomis, de-aged CGI. But that's the why the fuck am I even talking about a hallucination of Billy Loomis that is reoccurring, and one that actually interacts with the real world and saves her life with a grin? With some father. What the fuck am I talking about? I can't believe this is actually a thing. At the worst, it's a fetishization of mental illness. And at its best, which is still terrible, it's a return to the supernatural. Because this hallucination has far more in common with a fucking ghost, with an apparition, than it does with clinical mental illness. So I'm going to treat it like a ghost because that's what it is. Postmodernism, postmodern art, postmodern pop art, Scream, I Know What You Did Last Summer, urban legend, motherfucker, all of it. God is a non-issue in the Scream films. It's not actively opposed to God. It doesn't actively reject the concept. It is just a non-issue. Why? Because God's been dead for a long fucking time. Nietzsche killed him. Postmodernism is ahead of the game. Remove supernatural elements from horror films, and let's remember how completely overrun with supernatural scares the early to mid 90s were. And basically, Clive Barker owned that decade with Candyman and like Hellraiser and shit. Let's just remember that Scream was a fucking wrecking ball against poltergeists and demons and fucking killer clowns, dude. Like, in Scream, you're supposed to be afraid of your pretty boy boyfriend and his dumb fuck drooling best friend. God is simply a non-issue because God doesn't fucking matter anymore, specifically to young people and hyper specifically to the horror genre. We don't need God anymore. We don't need the supernatural. And yes, I am consolidating God within a compartment of horrors called supernatural bullshit tropes. Billy Loomis behaves like a ghost, like an apparition, like an active figure in the action. Like he's participating in the scenes. And he's a supernatural element. Scream 5 ran so far back to the safety of the spectacle that Scream 1 destroyed. Like, Scream 1 broke the bond between spectacle and actual life. And Scream 5 ran straight back to the spectacle and even pushed it even further back to a time when supernatural elements was truly a thing. This film is so obsessed with insisting that elevated horror is a legitimate movement within film that it didn't have the confidence to go through with this film without some sort of bullshit kind of fan service in the guise of mental illness. But what it truly is just a supernatural element that completely conflicts with every single piece of sophistication that Kevin Williamson and Wes Craven were devoted to remaining loyal true. Don't make this fucking thing for Wes. You don't know what he wanted. This wasn't it. What did I like about it? I liked one thing. I liked Amber. Amber was fucking wifey material, not gonna lie. Mikey Madison did so well in this film. And dude, okay, she said she was radicalized by message boards, though. I am so okay with films radicalizing people. That's essentially Scream 2, right? I like her performance. The energy that Mikey Madison demonstrated in this film is definitely in line with the best Scream killers. I loved her energy. I hated everything that I hated her motive, but she had like really fucking great energy. She was really hot too, but more so the energy was incredible. You can see Billy here, you can see Stu here, you can see Mickey and Jill here. Those are the best ones. We can see it. Mikey, you did so well in this film. I wish that you were given a proper motive that didn't completely betray the visual philosophical language of the franchise that you're in. I wish you were given a good motive. I wish Kevin Williamson wrote your character because you had such a good energy. That was like the best parts of Jill and Mickey, honestly. Like you were so much fun. And it looked like you were having so much fun. It looked like you actually studied the Scream films and took the best parts of Timothy Olyphant and Emma Roberts and even Matthew Lillard. It looked like you took the best parts of those three, and you did so well. Honestly, bravo, Mikey Madison. You made Amber amazing. You're the only thing that made me smile in this movie. The only thing, like, genuinely smile. Everything else made me roll my eyes so far into the back of my head that I was looking at my brain more than I was looking at the fucking screen. Thank you so much, Mikey Madison, for doing your homework and for making Amber like a really, really cool, energetic, and disturbing kind of killer. God, I so wish that Kevin Williamson wrote your motive. Oh my God, I wish that were the case, but here we are. Here we are. Dewey's death is the most unearned fucking thing I've ever seen in this film. Dewey's character is the laziest fucking thing I've seen in films in a very long time. No creativity went into that. No thought went into that. He's sad, depressed, alcoholic, living in a trailer, making a last stand and dying miserably. Cool. Where'd you come up with that trope? Like Scream 5, the whole point of the Scream series, not the whole point, but what the point, like, for public appeal, people think that it is this self-referential thing that goes against every trope available. Whereas Scream 5 goes into every trope available, but for a new generation of horror. Like, it's not a smart film. It's a very, very poor one. Nev Campbell didn't look like she wanted to be here at all, and I don't fucking blame her. Sydney was fine. She was an afterthought in the film. It was as if Nev Campbell said, "Yeah, I'm only gonna be there for like 4 days. Make it. You guys figure that shit out." I don't see Wes around. I definitely don't see Kevin. I'm not gonna be here for a while. Courtney Cox, Gail, she did good. She did good. She looked like she wanted to be here more than Sydney did, but not by much. David Arquette, I feel like, was putting a lot into this performance. Clearly because he knew it was his last one. He put a lot into this performance, and I'm like, bro, they completely misunderstood the point of Dewey, and killing him was the most unearned thing in the fucking movie. I don't like any of the kills except for Amber's. Like, not her death. Her death was a cartoon, but it was still very much like Mickey in the sense that fucking fucking just taking the scenery and just swallowing it whole. I fucking loved her in the film. But Amber's reveal of being a killer was really cool. When Liv, I believe the character was called, they were all ganging up on her like, "You're the killer." And she's like, "I'm not the killer." And then Amber's like, "I know." And then shoots her in the head and then turns and goes, "Welcome to Act 3." I smiled because for a second, I thought that Scream 5 was going to make good on its legacy. But no, when she said, "Welcome to Act 3," she meant it hyper literally. Richie and Amber are fans of Stab and are killing everyone so that they make a better film based on the events. People got paid to write this fucking movie. People got paid to direct it, and I haven't even talked about the direction. It is so cheesy. It is so cheap. The camera just and shut the fuck up about elevated horror. It's not real. Why did you guys want me to talk about this? You guys shouldn't have asked for this. Kyle Gallner was in the movie, who played Beaver, Cassidy Casablancas on Veronica Mars, which is one of my favorite things in the history of things. He was here for about like 2 minutes. I don't know why he was in the movie. I think he just wanted to get killed by Ghostface, I guess, like bucket list item, but he was cool to see. I don't give a fuck about the Meekses. You're trying to ruin Randy Meeks. Scream 4 figured out what to do without Randy. They had someone called Kirby. This thing called a compelling, dynamic character. You should look into it, guys. I don't even know if this has been articulate. I don't know if this made sense to anyone, and I don't care. Scream 5 takes a massive dump on one of my favorite horror franchises ever, and I don't understand why so many of you like it. In fact, the fact that so many of you like it make me completely. I know for sure then that you never understood these films to begin with. Never. You're literally the fucking parody that I have in my head of you, like the farce of look at that reference, look at that reference, look at that reference, look at these, motherfucker, fuck off. It's not about the references. It's about the references themselves being completely accepted perfectly within actual life. The spectacle, its representation, its reference has taken the place of originality, of actually living through it, of experience. When the fuck will anyone else understand this? Never. I'm ending it now.